amazingly simple, but I also had the benefit of reading it alongside an early draft of Larry and Diana's script. So I could really feel, and there were things that we ended up developing through
But there's so many themes that you guys have touched on in other movies, family dysfunction and inability to communicate, that are so much a part of this movie as well.
Yeah, for sure. It was instantaneous. The funny thing was, when we were chatting, I thought, I really got to figure this out. It was this kind of existential moment. I mean, two things had happened. One is a wonderful producer named Michael Costigan had just picked up the option, and he's now helping with Scott-free production, an amazing guy. And the other one was that now I was the asshole on the other side of the desk of the studio. So I spent literally almost 6 years just complaining bitterly about what complete troglodytic jerks movie executives were, who were constantly laughing at the office. And the minute I said, oh, let's do this, I thought, oh my God, now I'm that asshole. And it was really scary because at the time it was still the gay cowboy movie, and it was a joke. It wasn't really, so, and we just formed the company at Focus. And I had to turn to my new colleagues and owners and say, yeah, one of the first things I'd like to do is, make the gay cowboy movie that nobody wanted to make for 10 years.
Yeah, your follow-up to Happiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it was that. But once you made the decision, once we got started, it was a very genuinely easy shoot.
I will say I've done this for over 20 years. This is the easiest movie I made. It's like a breeze. Just breeze through. Everybody's happy. This movie, even if it's tragic, but it's about love. It nurtured me back from being racked. It just brought me back to life, basically, to my spirit, to love filmmaking again. We have a lovely producer, and also the assistant director, Michael Hausman, is all producers. It's such a lovely, he has a big personality, raise everybody. He'll force me to, take whitewater rafting every weekend. He'll design some kind of activity for me to go, and we're in the mountain.
You're saying the movie is kind of therapy for you.
Yeah, totally therapeutic. Well, I say Hulk is therapeutic. But this movie is nurturing. It's really nurturing for everybody. It seems like everybody's in love. And I've never worked on a movie, it's everybody made to the screen. Every actor is great. It's awesome. You just love them. And they felt the same way. It's like movie making, this is why we're filmmakers. But it's like not like anybody making effort. It's just something in the air. And it's Canadian, it's great. All want to give. And things in the West, you're making, I don't even remember how I used to put it very well, I think. It's a period piece in a timeless place. So that's kind of easy. It's a period piece, but you just call up 1,000 extras for the bull riding event. They all come in with costume. Things haven't changed all those years. And the Canadian doesn't matter. They look Western. It goes there. It's like really easy. Michael Hoffman go there, talk to every extras. Everybody seems to have a great time. And a 2,000-pound bulls leap over the fence. Everybody's scattered, and then they bring them back. Actors, I don't think the four major actors, I don't think they're ever that beautiful in my mind. Never that beautiful anymore. It's just like they're scarily great when they're so young, and they're beautiful. It's just like.
But you've done what you worked with a lot of young actors. I think back to the Ice Storm or Ride with the Devil. You've chosen these actors on the precipice of their careers and given them the chance to do something. And what did you see in these actors? And nobody taking Heat really seriously before this movie. And in fact, you can see the relish that Anne Hathaway has in playing a real character.
Advantage, their innocence, you can take advantage of them. You can push them around. They think we make things like that. You just keep challenging them, and they try to make it, and the efforts they just break your heart, and people respond to it.
I didn't realize that Ang Lee did
But yeah, no, people talent. I give myself a little credit.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to ask you. Tell to me about picking these people.
No, compelling faces, talent, obviously. Not is so much that they can perform that kind of talent, but they believe what you say. You tell them a story, they look at you, not like the way you look at me, but no, it's just like this. And they believe in it, and things happen. You say cry, you know, it's just to break your heart. To me, the best is the second movie, Kate Winslet. I told Toby I had a great relationship. Actually, that was his first feature film, The Ice Storm. Then I see him blossom my the other movie, Right with the Devil, the Johnson. I did quite a few first timer and quite a few second timer. A second timer, they begin to have a little taste, but they're still afraid and shy and try to get in. That's like the best for me.
Jim, let me ask you.
After 6 years, like cooking at home, trying to develop in hell, I won a Taiwanese award for script, and then the government funded Studio Central Motion Picture gave me about $480,000 to make a movie in New York. It's a Chinese movie in New York called Pushing Hands. I didn't know what I can do with that money. So I went back to New York because I didn't have anything to do. So all my friends in Taiwan, including Ho Xiaoxians and filmmakers, say you should take that money and run. And so a mutual friend of ours, actually his partner, like a machine partner, Ted Ho, he has a mutual friend with me. He said when I was a PA, this key PA, Ted Ho, I think he wants to be a producer now. Here's his phone number. I hope he still works. So I called Ted Ho. And I went to their office. Good machine, I think just formed. He's talking about with some company. They have 2 tables. Each of them has 1 table. James just got back to the shade like how he used to be. Ted was 28. He was like, what, 32? Let's say James looked like a professor and a used car salesman. I pitched my story. It's a Chinese story. He said, I think he told Ted that was the worst picture in the world. Yeah, go ahead.
That was really interesting. He did. I mean, we actually bizarrely tried to contact Hank 2 weeks before through his agents, and they laughed at us because he had a development deal at Universal, and he had this and that, and Giancarlo Giannini was going to be in his, whatever. And so they never passed that along. So when he called me, we were like, well, how did that? It was a whole weird thing. But he did. He came in and he pitched, and it was 45 minutes, and it would have been more entertaining, like watching a tuna sandwich melt in the sun. Or whatever. I'm trying to think of something. Just like
I'm sorry, it's just such an emotional story.
Yeah. But the weird thing was, and this is the funny thing, he left the office, and our office was above that strip joint on Warren Street. It was right near the World Trade Center. He left. I said that was literally, I mean, that was so painful. And his English was not what it is today. So that was also a piece of it. And it was just painful. But I said the weirdest thing was, he actually wasn't pitching a movie. He was describing the movie that he had already made in his head. And that's, can you imagine, like, seeing if you just went to the movies, this one or whatever, and you get home and says, how was the movie? And you go, oh, it was great. The first scenes, like, it's really amazing. Like, he's driving into town, and then he shaves, like, and there's in the mirror, and you see the other guy, and this goes on for 45 minutes.
Ted Ho told me the 2 of them are the king of no-budget filmmaking in New York. He said, listen, it's not low budget, no budget. Your money is luxurious for us, so we'll make it happen. And we're the company which is formed. We want to coach the filmmakers to make movies they can afford instead of spending time in development hell, which I just spent 6 years. I just pray to God, please don't let it still be cruise. And we make the movie. And they asked me if I can make it in three weeks. I said, no, I don't think so. They said, okay, 4 weeks. And Ted, assistant director and also produced the movie. He helped me write the English dialogue. But I was mostly working with Ted in that movie. And then that was a sort of hit in Taiwan, but didn't go outside of Taiwan. And then I got a chance to make The Wedding Banquet, which is over a script I had never get a chance to be made. And then from that movie on, James really helped me, do the script.
Yeah, because I wonder what the writing process is like, because it's unusual to have somebody who produces a movie and writes the director too. So what's that process like for you, Jim?
But you know, it's weird. It's part of the ideology that we have with cinema. Like here, that's so weird. But of course, in television, the producers are the writers, right? And then they just hire shooters, as they call them, so they don't direct. That's just work. And
You can hear you, right?
yeah. You got a couple digs in, all right? We got to keep this going. But it's so that configuration really works. Is industrial strength in other parts of this business, and so it never felt weird. And the other piece of it that never felt weird was that I still believe that screenwriting, no matter how consummate and skillful one can be, and I think there are amazing. I mean, it is an art in itself. But let's face facts. When you sit down and write a poem, when you finish writing the poem, you actually have a poem. When you sit down and finish a screenplay, you have 120 pages of begging for money and like crying out for attention. You don't have a work of art. And it's really interesting the way the culture works. You've all had this experience, I'm sure, going to some regional theater or summer stock or junior high school production of Macbeth, right? And you don't walk out at the end of that production and go, oh my God, that was so shitty. I'm never going to go see another Shakespeare piece of crap again. Right? Whereas with movies, I can guarantee you, the last time you went to some gigantic piece of Hollywood crap, you didn't walk out of the movie and say, that movie was terrible, but the screenplay was great. We never reverse back, you know what I'm saying? So it's a very instrumental job. Writing screenplays is that, and when you have the chance to write for someone like Ang, then you're really part, it's just a piece of production to me. It's really part of what makes him get to go do his thing. That makes sense.
For me, I never really regard him as a deserve, as a writer. It's like a fellow filmmaker. James, I need this. James, what tie should I wear at that event with James?
He's butler. That's the English thing.
Produced to sell it. When I didn't have a salesman, he's a salesman. No, just whatever we need to get somewhere. If I don't know how to do it, which happens a lot, then James do it. English report and what should these people say. And when I translate in Chinese to English, when you understand something, you say, "Oh, that sucks," and it comes in and I try. So we just struggle to get the movie made. That's what it's all about. Sometimes I don't treat him like a writer because sometimes you cut, ask, oh, that's too expensive to cut it. Am I supposed to protect your line? It's sometimes after writing, he'll talk like a producer. So it's everything mixed up. It's filmmaking.
Because that's what I wonder. I mean, because the producer exists to tell the writer, you can't shoot this in China, that's too expensive. Let's do this in Burbank. How do you...
Finished film. It's overwhelmed, and you just feel something's there. I think it's very effective. Well, James, if I have to tell you, I met him right out of the screen. People were like, some crying, some were like very quiet. And I run into James in the bathroom, in the men's room, and he said, "And that was great. It's 3 hankies and 2 bladders. My goal is 4 hankies and 1 bladder. That's the only those he can." But it's got something there. I don't know what it is. I didn't know when I was making it. But once it first hit the audience, I know something's there. Is that a surprise? I don't know. But I know it for like quite a while. And the goodwill it received from all over, it's not something you can plan or imagine. it's just when it happens, it's kind of humbling.
And how many mainstream hits have you seen that have that many sheep shots? I mean, seriously, it's like, okay, they're going down the sheep, across the river, he picks the sheep up, sniffs the sheep. It's like, so you know what I mean? Like, even when we felt that it was going to break out, in a sense, it was not at the expense of the film. The film still had its own pace and something.
Yes, it's something. So you participated, you're happy, but in no sense you're honored in any way. It's just like it's a great happening. Yes, great we participated.
Well, I can only wish you more success in another 10 years of focus. Let's thank Hank.